Let's start by talking dangerous. I know, we all want to discuss the cool new stuff. But there's two pretty prominent issues you should know about first. One, the old splines have been removed. Around half a year ago, they removed the ability to place them, but didn't remove their functionality. Now, however, they're just outright gone from the game. Now, I hear some of you asking, why is this a problem? Well, I don't know for sure, but I do know this. Trying to load worlds with the old splines on them just doesn't work. I think this is because the game didn't get any code to remove them from your saves when you first load them, and so when reading the save, the game has no clue what to do about the missing object and just fails to load. Good news, though. You can disable the beta, and as long as you didn't save over your map, it'll load just fine in the older version. It'll look a little worse, sure, but at least it's functional and you can delete the problematic splines. And it's not like you're going to be deleting your save on accident. We'll get to why in a little bit. Now, for the other issue, the game got updated to Unreal Engine 5. Now, this makes the graphics insane, which, again, we'll get to in a moment, but it might also make the game not work on your computer. Personally, I have a 10-core CPU and an RTX 2060, and even I saw frame drops with the updates, which I really wasn't expecting. Lots of people with worse computers, especially with laptops, have been letting me know the game either looks overall worse for them, or just flat out doesn't work. Now, this is a beta build of the game. Some issues are to be expected. More often than not, there's some major flaws in beta builds, such as these, that need to be sorted out before it's safe to push this to the public branch, so please be patient with the devs. Now then, let's get into the thick of it, shall we? The Weather and Sky update. If you'd like to download this update yourself, you'll need to opt into the beta branch. In order to do this, you'll need to manage your game, select Properties, go to the Betas tab, and select the Public Beta in the drop-down menu. Easy as that, just gotta wait for it to download first. When you first load into a save, you might notice things look a little bit different. And if you wait around long enough, you might see the sun set and rise again. But you won't get the weather immediately. By default, it's disabled. You'll need to go into the options menu to change that. Fortunately, the game remembers what your last settings were on a save-by-save basis, so you won't need to worry about setting this on every session. When in-game, hit Escape and go to the Options tab, then hit Gameplay. It should give you a menu that looks like this. The default settings when you start a new save are time of day 720, day and night lengths 12, animate time of day on, weather type clear skies, weather transition time 60. If you loaded up a save from before the update, the time will instead be 1200 rather than 720. Let's run through all these, starting from the top. Time of day is fairly self-explanatory, but it's not minutes and seconds. It's hours and percentage of an hour, I guess. So with it set to 7:20 by default, it is 12 past 7 in the morning. Noon would be 1200. As long as the daylight cycle is active, there's not much reason to touch this setting, as it will automatically update the time as the day progresses. The number doesn't seem to update even though the day does, though. Like, the number will stick to whatever time you originally set, but the time will still continue going. It more so seems to be a starting point than a strict, this is what the time is. Day length is the time, in minutes, that daylight will last. Night length is the same thing, but for nighttime. These add up to complete a full day-night cycle. By default, they're both set to 12, and since each is half a day, effectively 1 second is 1 minute, and 1 minute is 1 hour by default. These numbers do not have to be the same value. Personally, I've set mine to 30 for day and 15 for night, which gives me way more day than night, but still enough night to appreciate it and have some fun running through the darkness. Animate time of day dictates whether or not the day cycle even happens to begin with. If you'd like to keep it at a certain time of day, say dusk, just turn it off and set the time. Weather type is self-explanatory. Select one of the types in the drop-down menu. There's clear skies, partly cloudy, cloudy, overcast, foggy, rain, light, rain, thunderstorm, snow light, snow blizzard, sand, dust, calm, and sand, dust, storm. Random will change the weather at various intervals. You can select the amount of time it takes to change with the weather transition time setting. Unlike the day and night lengths, however, this number is in seconds, not minutes. This means, by default, the weather changes every 60 seconds, every minute. It seems that random will just choose any weather type aside from sand dust storm. I don't know why it doesn't want to do sand dust storm, but we have not encountered it yet. Personally, I would recommend changing the weather transition time setting to be something more substantial, such as 3 or even 5 minutes. Personally, I go for 7. There seems to be a weird bug surrounding weather types. For some reason, everything above foggy seems to not want to work if you've chosen something below foggy. I don't know the cause. I don't even know what makes this consistently happen, but I do know a weird fix. If you set the weather transition time to 10 seconds, and the weather type to random, you can wait for it to change weathers once, and then open the menu again and select whatever you want. I have no clue why this works, but it does, so that's cool, I guess. Now, some weather obstructs your view, but if you want to have a real challenge, any weather with a good amount of clouds will make the night pitch black. You'll need something special for that one. Locomotive headlights let you see where you're going, but that's only for engines, not for the player. Why don't we hit the L key to pull out a lantern that our character holds? It's not much light, but it should help you make out what's around you at the very least. A side note, it seems that certain headlights, especially on the older locomotives, just happen to be dimmer than other ones. Keep this in mind when you want to run trains at night. Now, something that I know a lot of people will enjoy, the speed limit seems to have been removed, or at the very least, seriously revamped. I mean, just look at the background footage you're watching. This Glenbrook is running at 100% regulator and 100% reverser. I'm not touching it at all. It's going at 25 miles an hour the whole way, but the cars used to have a speed cap of 22 mph before they would derail. And yet, here, on the new update, on a 2% downhill grade, nothing has happened to the train. I didn't record it, but I did a more serious experiment with a Tweetsie and 24 empty hoppers. I left the train running at full blast, exited it, and waited for it at the other end of a very long and twisty line. When it finally passed me, all 24 cars were still intact. Now, super sharp curves might derail your trains at high speeds, and there's still bugs here and there, but if you're running like 70-meter curves on your main line, you can full send any train now. Well, as long as you're not going downhill, that is. There is one thing you should be worried about here, though. The car physics have been seriously altered, providing more rolling resistance. Your trains won't come to a stop anywhere near as fast as they once did, not even just with a light locomotive. You may be able to speed through your network, but reaching your destination without overshooting it might be a bit tricky. There's a few issues that we've also encountered with the game, like bugs. The biggest one that we found was that when you first entered certain locomotives after the update, they would like to jump off the tracks for no reason. We personally have experienced this with a 10-mile and with both Porter types, but there might be more out there. The Glenbrook, Eureka, and Porters have smaller hitboxes when you're trying to enter the third-person menu for some reason. Possibly more engines, I haven't tested them all, but they seem to be centered more in the boiler. Not in the cab, in the boiler. On one side of the stock car, the text is really glitchy and weird. Both turntables don't let you stop on them. They just act like pure ice, pretty annoying for people such as myself who like using them over loops and Ys. When you first open a save, you can't immediately open the help menu or the map. You have to open the G menu first, and then you can open them. And most annoying of all, at least for someone like me, keybinds were reset in this update for some reason. Resetting them all back to what I wanted them as is going to be a thorn in my side. There's one other pretty big issue that I didn't mention at the beginning of this because it's not so much an issue for us, the players. The developers forgot to remove some of the developer tools. If you hit your number keys at the top of your keyboard, not your number pad, certain load types will spawn in front of you. This is a very easy way to make quick cash, as all you need is a car that can carry the appropriate load type and a place for it to unload. No, you can't just spawn items directly into the freight depot. If nobody unloaded it from a car, nobody's associated with the money that the load would provide, and since it spawned in out of thin air, it's not tied to any player. And, well, that's all there is to see. There's nothing else to do but save the oh, wait, right. In my opinion, the most important quality of life change, better saves. You can now name them. They're still marked with date and time at the end, but no more struggling to figure out which save slot number 6 was. And to make life even easier, there are also photos attached to every save. On top of all that, the game now has built-in autosave functionality. No more need for Railroads Online Extended. Just set it to whatever interval you want and don't worry about anything else. Now, there is one problem with this system. There's no limit to how many saves you can have, and thanks to the date and time getting added onto at the end of every save, you can't overwrite them. There's no way to delete saves in-game, so you're gonna get a lot of clutter fast. The only way to keep things trimmed down is to manually delete your saves, which is gonna be a bit of a pain to do. Not impossible, just annoying. That's all we've discovered for now. If you found something that we missed, let me know in the comments. Oh, wait, actually, there is one thing I did miss. If you lean out the side of the train using R or T, you have to hold the button down. It's no longer a toggle. Alright, that's all we have for now, for real, this time. Let us know in the comments if there's anything we missed. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I might not have all the time to respond to them all, but I'm sure somebody will answer your questions. And above all else, have a good day. Cheers, folks.